So friends and family, I woke up today watching Force Gaming's video on the day before, which basically broke out a lot of news that the internet has been sleuthing for a while now, and it's just now accumulating just as we get a new trailer for the day before, which is supposed to reveal so much gameplay. We were so excited for this game that has just really been teasing our eyeballs and just massaging our brains with beautiful graphics and this beautiful idea of a survival zombie MMO experience that we've wanted for so long, since way long before, in the days of like survival games like DayZ and such. We've always wanted a true MMO experience, and I know we've had some post-apocalyptic MMO light style games such as The Division, but finally, were we going to get a third-person shooter that really took itself sincerely, that was graphically impressive, fidelity unmatched in the MMO genre, and actually be massively multiplayer online? I don't think so. So yes, today we woke up, Force Gaming did a really fantastic drama-like video, and this is going to be one as well. Basically, I'm going to be breaking down a little bit what makes the day before probably a nothing burger game, like how it's probably lying to us, and basically like using hype as a vehicle to sell other things other than itself. It's super weird, it's super strange, but it's also kind of a trend that I've been noticing, so that's really where I'm going to add on with this video. We're going to kind of essay it and talk about some trends and how it's kind of good and bad, but basically, yeah, the day before looks like a scam-ish kind of experience, especially now that I've dove a little bit deeper into it. We'll be talking about some things, a lot that's been covered as well from other people, but it's all being put together in this video. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen Force Gaming's video, it's not prerequisite for this, but you might want to watch it afterwards just to get a little bit extra context and information. But I'm going to be running down footnotes here, and thanks so much everyone who is a part of this community who is now calling out games, for their bullshit. And hopefully we can continue to do that more, because it absolutely will become a trend. So let's just jump into it though. The day before, an exciting new, massively multiplayer online experience, or not. So I do apologize if all the footage in the background is very short and brief and very repeated, because that's really all that we've got. Everything that the day before has released here, or developer fantastic, it's not much at all. It's all very hyper-picked and specific vertical slices that has just been teased out. And I do know that this is kind of a red flag in itself, because this game's supposed to come out in a couple months. And normally, like a year before, we would have maybe this amount of content, not months before launch, unless there's some sort of avant-garde marketing happening here, which I think in a way there is, but it's not for specifically the day before, if that makes sense. We'll get into that, but basically, we don't know much about the day before. In fact, I'm actually looking at their Steam page as we speak, and there's like a sentence or two effectively describing the game, and most of it is it's still, even that, it's very vague. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't really talk about the true MMO aspects. It doesn't really talk about the true mechanics, and there's not even that many screenshots. And what we do have, though, is the bits and teases here. If this was like years ago, would be really fantastic. Like, it just looks so pretty. It looks graphically impressive. It is evocative. And in terms of marketing, like, that's successful. Teasing is really cool. But we're months from release of a real game where real players are going to be playing together. And so, yeah. Anyways, it's looking a little fishy. But if we actually go into Developer Fantastic's backlog, well, it's not looking so good, guys. It's not looking so good. What we do know is that The Wild 8 is a positively reviewed game, but they kind of gave up on it, probably because it wasn't a viral success. And then we have Prop Night, which, mixed reviews, but could always come back. It seems like they haven't given it up. It was somewhat popular, but I guess just wasn't enough. And I'm not really sure in the end, though, that it looks like they're trying to do a whole bunch of games. It seems like they're trying to make a bunch of games that they're looking for the viral hit. And that's really all I can say with that, without going into deeper, without knowing from interviews and things like that. I'm just guessing, but it is something that I've noticed a trend that is in general on social media. Like, this is just how you do TikTok, and more, this is maybe how you produce content in general, like on Twitter, on YouTube. Like, this is how you produce content versus art, I guess you could say, on the internet. But you are noticing probably more content creators doing this with art, maybe with game design even, where people don't even make games, they just make videos talking about them making demos of games that aren't even actually playable. They're just like, hey, I made a goofy thing in Unreal, look at it. And then, like, it's not actually a game. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but that's more and more becoming the case, where it's like, we're making nothing burger content. And that's cool, that's fun, that's definitely it. But the problem is when those are videos, those are tweets, those are things that I just swipe through on TikTok. But when you have a full game that I am paying money for, then it gets a little fucking awkward, you know what I'm saying? So this is actually something that we've seen a lot with, honestly, especially early access survival games. And this does seem to be another company that is kind of doing that. I played so many of these games where they launch, they have really cool trailers, or like, at least they have like pretty graphics or pretty art or whatever. They do things that are evocative that get you in for that first day. They hook you. You wishlist it, you pre-order it, or you jump in day one for early access, and then they just kind of give up on the game. And this sucks. And then they go and make another one, which is pretty similar or somewhat. And it just really seems like what they're doing is they're picking and plugging what will kind of go viral with the algorithms or with their audience or whatever. You know, it's really like they're producing things as a way of testing the marketing instead of like knowing the marketing and then producing the best art that they can from that. And this is sort of how the internet works now, and it's hard to blame them for that. The best way to find out what works on TikTok is not researching TikTok and taking classes on TikTok. It is literally spamming content on TikTok in order to jump in organically. And that works, again, for things that are free and fair and lightly done. But when you have a game that seemingly is presenting itself as a hardcore produced game where it's like we're very sincere, you know, we want to make a hardcore experience for gamers, for MMO gamers, we want this living, breathing world, when they're trying to present like this big, epic product, but they're designing it in a way that's basically like a TikTok, well, I think we're starting to notice it now. And the thing is, though, is that this is a trend, and a lot of you haven't noticed that it's a trend. Before we get into those examples, though, let's go ahead and break down why the day before actually is kind of a nothing burger. So first off, the trailers are graphically impressive. And in a way, that is a red flag because MMOs are massively multiplayer online games. Survival games also have a lot of player agency in terms of like the looting and a lot of the little micro mechanics. So you don't expect to be like super graphically intensive. You normally will sacrifice graphics for performance because there's so many moving parts in these games that most computers can't run them. But these trailers are freaking gorgeous. Then again, that's also a problem. So the trailers themselves, look at them, they're too cinematic. And that's kind of normally a cringy thing with especially Game Award trailers, especially with console games with people using controllers. Or if it's a PC game, they will still use a controller for smoother camera movements that aren't realistic to a player, but are cinematic, you know, so the trailer just kind of looks believable to the average person in a sense. It's immersive. I don't know. I don't really think so. I like really gamey gameplay trailers. Like I like to see the UI and stuff like that. So the problem with this is that you do see the UI and it does look like gameplay, but it doesn't look like a human is playing the game. It's such a weird, like surreal, like uncanny valley situation. And basically what a lot of people are thinking is that the camera movements are actually programmed in, that everything that you're seeing is sort of programmed in. And this isn't impossible. Many people can do this with mods in many games. I know that you can actually script this into Unreal, so it is completely possible that this is all gameplay, but not really. Yeah, so that's super weird, and we're probably gonna have to fight against this moving forward. Lots of trailers are probably going to do this. I know this is a big problem when it comes to MMO content. Normally, you'll have an MMO and they'll hide the UI, or they will use certain camera angles and just very brief moments of gameplay that it makes it look really action-packed, and then you get in the game and it plays totally different. This happens all of the time. But with this game specifically, there's just like a slyness to it that people don't like. There's a dishonesty. So next up, we also have just in-game. The assets in the game look so impressive and so good, probably because that they're basically emulated or inspired, maybe debatably ripped off from other games. These set pieces that you see, it looks like they're just directly inspired. So I guess some main examples are going to be the mall, looks like directly from Spider-Man game. And then there is a gas station, that's directly from Life is Strange. Is this illegal? No. In fact, maybe nothing that is happening with this game is illegal, but is it distasteful? I don't know, that's debatable. It's just, you know, another piece of evidence that all together make it just seem like, kind of cash grabby, that's all. And not even just to make money from this specific game. So there's even this weird drama where recently they released a vlog. And apparently this vlog, which is talking about the development of The Day Before, mostly actually advertises an app from the company, from the developers. Like, what the hell? So freaking weird and cringy. Go ahead and watch the Force Gaming video for some more details on that, but that's a thing that exists. Next up, we've got basically what I just want to kind of surmise here is the game is nothing burger. The trailers are so incredibly brief for a game that's releasing like tomorrow. Like it's happening very soon. I'm not just saying short trailer, which you guys are probably noticing I'm repeating most of the trailers because there's not much content there, but you can see that in the trailers, like there's not much gameplay happening. Like if you really play these style of games, you know that you're not really seeing anything real. Like it's just some zombies running at some dudes and they're shooting them. It's a lot of environmental shots. I hate when MMOs do this. So many MMOs and RPGs do this where they just show lots of environmental shots. Like literally any child who just downloaded Unreal for the first time can do that. So dumb. I hate it. But not only that, but the website has no information basically. And then the Steam page has no information. Like this game is a nothing burger for what is supposed to be a very complex sort of simulation MMO game. Fuck off. No way. I don't think so. So yeah, that's basically it. There is barren information anywhere about this game's real mechanics and how it will really play, and yet seemingly the trailers and its presentation is for a simulation style game that is, you know, that looks so good visually. It just doesn't make sense. And we're starting to vibe, we're starting to feel that. And one thing that I can add on, if you guys have seen all the other videos, I didn't see anybody mention this, but I think we should start calling this stuff out more, because I would love more accurate system requirements. But in the system requirements, I did notice a weird thing about this game. So you know how visually impressive this game looks? Like, it's gorgeous, right? Seemingly, and it runs seemingly way too good for some reason. You know, even MMOs that are trying to look good can't lie about performance this well. So I do think that it's very cherry-picked gameplay, and to a point, like, I think there's some dubious stuff going on with the recording, but the system requirements also just don't make sense. So a game that looks this good is gonna run on a GTX 960, like, as well as the trailers, or the recommended is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060. So why is this a red flag to me? Well, not only do I think that these machines, the recommended specs, I don't think are going to run the game that looks this good, that is a survival MMO that looks this good, and it's going to run at 60 FPS even? No. But also, it really does seem, and not just seem, but like literally, if you were to type in like the most popular specs on Steam, like what's the most popular graphics card, what is the most popular CPU and stuff like that, it looks like they just threw that down in the recommended. And then, like, you know, the second, like, if you go a generation down, they just kind of put that for the minimum. It looks like they have actually just said, like, in terms of marketing, I think they just put it so that the recommended specs are the average specs. Like, oh, most people can run a game that looks this good, then they're going to think they're going to want to buy it. You know, they're going to be like, oh my god, my machine can run this game? I've never dreamed of being able to play a game like this. This is awesome, epic. You know, because you think of games like 7 Days to Die, and it runs like garbage and looks like garbage. And then you see a game like this, and your machine can run it? Guys, I genuinely think that this game was basically built just like to fit an algorithm. And many games do this, and in a way, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would argue that's how you should design games to an extent, but when you're going to a point of like lying, or hiding or covering, or not being honest about your production, that's when it gets shitty, you know? So now let's go ahead and talk about another example, which I think is more honest, even though I still think like it's something that needs to be more aware, like we need to be more aware of these sort of practices. I want to go ahead and show off some gameplay here that you probably have seen. It went viral a little bit ago, and it's for a Sun Wukong game. This is a Chinese developer, and I've noticed a huge trend of this situation happening in China specifically, and as well Korea. So we have games that are visually just insane. Like, you probably just didn't think games could look that good. We hit the peak, right? But then there's just this extra oomph of style and animation, and it looks crazy. But if you're really into like action RPGs and games like Dark Souls, you might have seen this Sun Wukong game and its gameplay and noticed that it's kind of not real gameplay. There's something really fucking off about it. But the developer is just super honest. They're like, this is not a game. They were basically saying like this is just sort of a tech demo. And the reason that Sun Wukong is now becoming a game is because that techie demo was like so freaking viral. And they're like, okay, cool. So I do think it's going to be a trend in the future that there's going to be fake games. And I know it's a trend in the future because it literally already is trending. It's already a thing that I noticed with indie games where you will post on Twitter, like you'll show a vertical slice or really just a small clip of like a mechanic. And this is not even a game that's properly playable, but you'll show something happening in some sort of game engine. And then if it doesn't get views, well, then you don't put it in your game, or you don't even make that game as a whole. Maybe you totally scrap it because it didn't go viral. But you keep plugging and doing these things of like these basically nothing burger or fake game experiences, and you're like, oh, I'm totally making this game, and look at it, and if it goes viral, then you actually do make the game. So I think The Day Before is doing that, but not being honest about it. In fact, I think Fantastic, the developer, has been doing that this whole time, but never really committing to finishing their games. The Day Before is like their biggest push in terms of fidelity, in terms of marketing, but it's really, I think we can start to see the trend, and we're getting the vibe that this is a nothing burger. And so it is a little bit different. It is a little bit different from people on Twitter or developers just, teasing art or testing concepts. That's marketing, 101. Like, that's just basic stuff. That's what you do. You A/B test. And I think, why make a whole game when you don't know if it's going to sell or if people are really going to like it, when you could release bits and pieces on the internet and find out, A/B test, what do you like? Do you like this color, this font, this, etc.? We're seeing that more and more. That's okay, that's fine and fair. We should be aware that those things are happening and not get our hopes up with games. But then when you have a game like this, The Day Before, where they just like, here it is, they just shotgun entire games that seemingly look like they're going to be fun, long-lived games as a service experiences, especially this MMO, and then, we're starting to notice that it's a nothing burger. What if we didn't notice? What if it did come out? Which it probably will come out. It probably will make a ton of money. And then people are going to see that there's nothing here. It's going to shut down in a little bit, or it's not going to be, developed properly. It's going to be hugely glitchy. It's going to be a complete fucking disaster. And that just really sucks, because this is going to cost people money. It's going to cost people time. And they could be out playing games or doing other things with their lives. Like, they could be experiencing other stuff with friends. And this hits me hard because that's why I have my Discord, right? Links in the description if you want to play with me, with everyone else. It's just a really cool place to party up. But it just really sucks when a game like this comes out and it just takes money from people. It takes time from people. It takes you away from us. And this is actually really bad for people. Like, maybe you're watching this video, you're likely a gamer or someone who's a little bit older and more experienced, so you kind of know how to evade these games or quickly move on from these games. But there are younger people, this is a very appealing game to a wide audience, which is probably why it's going viral and why they chose this subject. But this is a game that I can imagine an 18-year-old or 17-year-old who just got his first gaming PC getting into and then kind of falling out of love with gaming because of this. And so for that, I'm getting a little bit emotional. That's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm educating you, who are mostly already educated, to now be able to find some words and find ways to maybe tell your friends about it. To, yes, spread the gossip, the tea, the drama, because, guys, fuck shit like this. Like, for real. And if all of this is a misunderstanding, I don't think it's my fault or any of our faults for feeling like this is a betrayal, because we're kind of starting to learn how the internet works now, and we've been burned before, especially in survival, zombie, early access games, and in the MMO genre. So the combination, the whopping total of all of this, look, we've been burned before, and we're tired of it. We're not going to give developers passes anymore, especially a developer known for doing bullshit like this. So that's it. That's the tea, that's the drama, The Day Before. Something that's close to my heart, wanted to shout it out, let you guys know. There's probably going to be a bunch of videos following, and there already are a bunch, so go check out Force Gaming's video for a little bit more elucidation on some of these topics. But in the end, I think, okay, just want to end the moral here. The Day Before, the way they're going about this is wrong. However, if you are a developer or if you are somebody who's interested in this gaming niche and development, you should know that marketing and publishing is really important, A/B testing is really important, and just making the game of your dreams is a good way to fail. So I wouldn't doubt if Fantastic started like that and then noticed that, well, that's not really going to work. Many people create games, there's thousands of games every single day, and most of them get no players. So there is a right and wrong way to go about using social media and marketing to promote your games, and even to use it to develop your games. But this is the line that is crossed here with this particular title. Fuck that. I don't like that noise. So yeah, I'm not going to include it in my best upcoming MMO list for 2023, which for the longest time, as I was building this list, it actually was included in it. But of course, as the release date got closer and I realized it was a nothing burger, I just couldn't do that anymore. So it's cool to be hyped. It's exciting, it's fun, and I hope we can all join in. You know, like and subscribe if you guys want to be excited about new stuff coming out and brand new experiences that we can all share together. But there is a limit, there's a line that can be crossed. And I'm not going to for this game. And I'm sad to see a developer do that. Hopefully they can turn it around. Hopefully they can do something with it. But look, these are games as a service. They're supposed to be long-winded experiences. It's a carrot on a stick. And it's our decision. It's up to us if we want to chase that carrot. And games like this love to manipulate people who have addictive personalities or who are chasing those dragons. And so, you know, it just feels dishonest, and it just feels kind of scummy. So that's what I gotta say. That's my thoughts and feelings. What do you guys think? You know, is this gonna be a scam? Is it not? Were you excited for it? Do you want a zombie survival MMO? And in closing, I will say that in a lot of videos I've seen talking about this game, people are admitting like, yeah, it's probably a scam, but hopefully people can see that there is a hunger for this, and that is the encapsulating moral. Is that this game was designed to see if there was a hunger for it. I don't think it was ever designed to actually be a full finished product. So the next game that now knows that this is a viral concept and they actually put their whole heart into it will probably be a banger. So let's look forward to that one, right? Much love, friends and family. I'll see you in the next one.